And glad to have you with us on Valley Talk. One of the things we also want a news story that came up this morning that we're doing some research on right now is this story was reported by KGAL TV. A Corvallis man said he was stabbed with a sword early Saturday morning when he tried to use the weapon to defend a woman being held against her will at the Oregon State campus in Corvallis. And we're finding indications this morning that the man may not have medical insurance and might possibly need some help with his medical bills. Isaac Granberry told the reporters at KGAL that the incident started early Saturday morning when he heard a girl scream outside his apartment. The 19-year-old Oregon State University student said he brought a cane with a pull-out sword handle when he went to investigate the screams from outside. According to Granberry, at the end of the parking lot, these guys were following a girl and one of them tackled her. He had her hands pinned above her head and was straddling her in the bad way, he says. So obviously they had an ill intent in mind. Granberry said he hit the man pinning the woman in the head with the cane's handle. That's when, he says, he was thrown to the ground by the man's friends. They got the cane out of my hand, took the sword part out. Then for about 40 seconds, they started hitting me in the head, my chest, and I guess I got stabbed too, according to Granberry. For that 40 seconds, it really sucked. They were beating him pretty bad, and they stabbed him. Granberry says he wasn't sure what happened to the men that attacked him. He was taken to the Good Samaritan Hospital with serious injuries. We're hearing word from the family that this young man who put his life in jeopardy to save this lady is going to recover and doing well, but he might possibly need some help with the medical bills. We're still trying to research that story. In fact, we were working on that this morning, and that's a story that we have yet to, that we'll follow up on and give you more information as it's available. Also going to try to secure an interview with the man and find out what his prognosis is and just talk to him about why he did what he did, why he put his life in jeopardy to save another. And then also, he's now faced with medical bills because of it. So, we need more people in our world like this guy that will just do the right thing. Just stand up, be counted, say, just get involved, get engaged, and make a difference. And so if this man needs help with medical bills, if you can afford to do so, let's do that. Let's help him pay his medical bills as a way of our saying thank you for making a difference in a positive way. This is KGAL's Valley Talk, and we're treading water here, hopefully that our guests would show up. But seeing that may not be the case, then we're going to take a short break here, and we'll continue with the show from a previous date. This is Valley Talk. I'm Dave Adams. Glad you're with us this morning.
If you own or manage a business, you know you need control of your transportation costs. PetroCard is more than just fuel, offering card lock, mobile fueling, unbranded and branded fueling programs and lubricants. PetroCard is the largest independent franchise of Pacific Pride, owning over 65 convenient locations throughout Oregon and Washington. PetroCard has over 30 years' experience in the petroleum industry, providing detailed reporting, competitive prices, and reduced paperwork from one vehicle to a fleet of trucks. You'll save time, money, and be able to manage your fuel and lubricant programs more effectively. With the automatic fueling system from Pacific Pride, you'll get 24-hour access to gas and diesel at thousands of Pacific Pride locations throughout the U.S., some complete with showers. Get control of your transportation costs now. Call PetroCard at 1-800-4FUEL. That's 1-800-367-3835. PetroCard is more than just fuel.
Hello, this is Bob. You don't have to drive to Portland to find fine dining and great service. At Mama's Fine Italian and Wine Shop, we draw regulars from Albany, Salem, and Corvallis, and all over Oregon to our little place at 50 West Oak in Lebanon. Mama's is fine dining with casual atmosphere. We offer tableside wine service with retail prices. Our light appetite entrees begin at $5 on weekdays, which makes it affordable to feed the whole family in style and often. Now, whether it's a quiet social or business lunch, perhaps a special occasion, or even some fun family dining, call us. Reservations are not required but recommended, so call 541-451-5050. That's 451-5050. You can find our menus online at mamasfineitalian.com, and we're open Tuesday through Saturday and now Sunday for brunch at 11.
Mama's Fine Italian and Wine Shop on Oak between Main and 2nd, across from the Big Blue Napa Auto Parts building in downtown Lebanon.
Dad, where do trees come from?
Well, son, trees come from seedlings that were planted and over the years grow into all these trees you see around you. All these trees make up the forests in the Pacific Northwest, and they do a lot for us. We breathe out carbon dioxide and breathe in oxygen. Trees breathe in our carbon dioxide, and it's a source of oxygen.
Why do we have to cut down trees?
Well, the wood from the trees goes into a lot of things that we use. Everything from lumber to even some of the cheese we eat.
Will there be forests when I have kids?
Yes, son, there are people who are growing trees today that won't be cut for 50 years or more. And those same people make sure the trees have room to grow so they have the best chance of being healthy.
Starker Forests in the Mid-Willamette Valley have been growing trees for more than 75 years. You're invited to a free forest tour on board our air-conditioned modern bus every Wednesday afternoon during the summer. Simply call Visit Corvallis for details. Starker Forests. Growing forests, not just trees, and growing the next generation right now.
Less hype, just quality news, sports, and smart talk. From your friends at 1580 KGAL.
Welcome once again to Valley Talk. We do want to remind you the Starker Forest tours start this Wednesday, and you can book a seat right now. If you're not doing anything this Wednesday, check it out. Weather's great, and be a good chance to go outside and see how they grow a forest. The number to call for Visit Corvallis is 1-800-334-8118. 1-800-334-8118. You gather at Comfort Suites in Corvallis at 12:45 Wednesday afternoons. They return at 4:30 p.m. So if you need something to eat between that time, you might want to take a sandwich or two, maybe your refreshment with you. They do have usually a can of soda pop that let you have. But if you want something to eat, you might want to take it along. Great tour. Heartily recommended. It's free of charge and a chance for you to get some of your questions answered. Again, the number for Visit Corvallis is 1-800-334-8118. And remember, they have the mill tours as well, where they visit the Georgia Pacific Mill, a working mill at Philomath. They're going to be doing that July 17th, July 21st, and September 11th. On those dates, you meet at the Comfort Suites at 10:30 in the morning, and they'll once again return you to the Comfort Suites at 4:30 in the afternoon. On the mill tours, no kids under 12 and no open-toed shoes because they're going to be taking you through a working mill. The mill tours are July 17th, August 21st, and September 11th. For more information, go to their website at Starker Forests and Google Starker Forests and summer field trips and take advantage of them. This is Valley Talk on KGAL. I'm Dave Adams, and so glad that you are with us today. And on the phone with us today, right now on Valley Talk, we have Vanessa Timmons, who's the Executive Director of the Oregon Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. And Vanessa, welcome to Valley Talk today.
Thank you.
Oregon legislature, according to our calendar here, may give final approval today to House Bill 2205, which would expand the list of required reporters of people who witness possible elder abuse in the state of Oregon. And House Bill 2205 would enlarge the list of required reporters to include lawmakers, attorneys, dentists, optometrists, and chiropractors. Vanessa, why do you think the list needs to be expanded?
I think it's an important tool to offer folks the opportunity and the information that they need in order to better report abuse. And one of the things that we've learned from mandatory reporting laws, the traditional laws that we have now, is that when we identified mandatory reporters, we also gave people the opportunity to have a better understanding about what abuse is. And because of that, we have less of a kind of random response to abuse in our communities and a more comprehensive response to abuse.
Do you think there's more abuse going on now than maybe 10 years ago? And if so, why?
Well, that's a really good question. I don't know. I don't know that there's more abuse going on. I do know that we have more awareness of abuse that's happening.
Dennis Prager on Smart Talk 1580.
I think that we're also, when we think about elder abuse, what we know is that we're an eldering population, that we're getting older as a nation. And I do think that has that has allowed for an increase in abuse for elders.
Now, when we talk about elder abuse, give us some examples of what we're talking about, if you could, please.
Yeah, well, in my field, I'm an advocate for domestic and sexual violence, and so in my experience and what I personally worked with is survivors who have had an increase in sexual assault and an increase in domestic violence. But I also know from my work that there's an increase in financial abuse. When you're talking about elders, a lot of the time we're talking about people taking and misusing their medications. We're talking about people neglecting or leaving elders vulnerable, not doing adequate care, but also physical and sexual violence.
Now, are you seeing, you think, possibly more of the financial abuse, maybe some family members taking advantage of grandma or grandpa and their savings, because a lot of people are under stress right now?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a sense that maybe we're seeing more of that kind of abuse just because of economic times?
We are definitely seeing more of that kind of abuse.
And what's an elder person to do? A lot of times they're under the care of this person, and that's the only contact they have with a human. And how do they call for help, or how does somebody else know that that situation's going on?
It's a really complex issue with elders who, just like any survivor of domestic violence or sexual violence, the perpetrator is someone intimate to them, someone that they know, someone that they would like to be able to trust. And it's a very difficult decision. And what I always advocate the survivors that I work with to do is to find someone that they can tell and to keep telling. I think oftentimes people don't want to believe that something is happening. So a survivor may tell a sibling, another family member, and they go and talk to that person, and then nothing happens, and then the elder feels very betrayed and not heard, not listened to, minimized. And so what I often tell folks is to keep telling until somebody hears you. Tell your clergy, tell your family members, and to never stop telling, because what we know about abuse and violence is that it just gets worse. This is not an issue that gets better with time or with neglect. This tends to escalate.
One of the issues that can happen, especially with elders, is if somebody is reported, the person who is accused of it may say, well, Uncle Jim is not doing too bright right now, and he's having some issues with remembering, and he just doesn't understand what's going on. So the person that hears this and wants to do what's right, how do they make that determination?
Always err on the side of believing the victim. It is so important to get that message out, because what makes people more vulnerable when they're an elder or when they're a child, or if they have some other issue that leads to a sense of a lack of credibility, that makes them an easier target and at increased risk. So the more dementia or the more frailty or the more vulnerability that an elder has, that actually puts them at greater risk. So we don't want to look at that as a lack of credibility. We want to look at it in terms of risk. How vulnerable is this elder? How much does this elder need me to intervene on their behalf? So I just like to flip that thinking on the other side, instead of thinking about, oh, this is incredible, thinking, wow, this person is in extreme risk.
What about fears by the elder person who's saying something, and for fear that nobody will believe them, and then they will endure retaliation?
Yeah, and that's another really important factor. And I think that this goes out to those who might be added to this expanded reporting list, the importance of how do we intervene in a safe way. And one of the things is you never disclose something that someone has said to you. You don't go to a family person and say, your mom or your dad or whomever told me that you're hurting them or you're assaulting them or that you're taking their medication. You don't do that. You go in and you investigate, and you think primarily of the safety of the victim.
What about the issue of financial abuse? Maybe the elder individual goes to a family member and says, well, they're spending money in areas that, new car or so on and so forth, and maybe it's a gray area, and what's that person to do?
The person who they're reporting to?
Yes.
about the financial abuse.
Yeah.
I think that and it's not. I don't have the numbers handy right now, but there are, through the criminal justice system and law enforcement system in every community, an elder abuse, a hotline for reporting elder abuse, and they have a financial investigation aspect of that. And I really say get those professionals involved. They have the resources, the tools, the expertise. Financial abuse is one of those complex issues that's very difficult to prove and very difficult to understand. And those professionals, in my experience, have been very helpful when I've had to make those reports. They can go in and look at bank statements, and they can go in and really begin to get access to the information you really need to determine whether financial abuse is happening. That's not something that family members can really figure out for themselves. That's my experience.
What about a hotline number?
I think it's going to be different in every community. My experience would be to just kind of go in and look for the elder abuse hotline number. Every community is going to have that, either through your county or state Department of Human Services.
Now, you are the executive director of the Oregon Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence.
Mm-hmm.
Of the total caseload and the client load that you have, the percentage dealing with elder abuse, is that percentage increasing as we go forward? I know
absolutely increasing.
It is. How much?
It is increasing. We have 54 member programs in the state of Oregon. All of our member programs are domestic and sexual violence programs. 5 years ago, I would say maybe 10% of them had some sort of specific programming for elders, and that has probably increased to over 60% of them now have programming, information, training, technical assistance around working with elders who are victims of domestic and sexual violence. That's a huge shift.
That's a huge increase. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that it's linked to our eldering population, but it's also linked to this awareness. I think this is why laws and bills like what's happening today are so critical, because once you tell people they have to report on this, you're also telling them you have to learn about this. You have to understand this. You have to know where to make reports about this. And so it really increases community awareness. And that's what's happened.
What about the penalties for required reporters? Let's say this legislation passes and you're an attorney and you know about this and you don't report it, and later on it's found that you knew about it, you're on the required reporting list and you didn't. What kind of ramifications are there for the person who didn't come forward?
They're really different based on your reporting mandate. I think that for some people it's a licensing issue. So that can affect your ability to practice your field.
Hey, this is Valley Talk KGAL, and hope you've enjoyed it and found that section of the program informative. That was a program that we broadcast June 3rd of this year about elder abuse. We had to, looks like we're going to have to reschedule the first guest we have on the Valley Talk show today. Apologies for that. But elder abuse and being aware of it is very important, and glad we had an opportunity to replay that program from June 3rd for you this morning on Valley Talk. When we come back, we have guests in the studio right now. Jane Donovan, Michael Winder are here live today. We're going to be talking about Willamette Theater Festival and Midsummer Arts in the Park. The first annual, first of many is the plan. More on that when Valley Talk continues in just a moment.
The Osgood File, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit AutoOwners.com. This is Dave Ross on the CBS Radio Network. I think we all assume that one day robots will be so real that the only way to tell whether they're human will be to check for a belly button. But researchers at Carnegie Mellon are using a very different model. More after this from Charlie.
Why turn to a trusted choice agency for your insurance needs? Because a trusted choice insurance agency is an independent advocate that works for your interest, not for any one company. That allows them to find the coverage, the company, and the price to fit your needs. They pledge to treat you as a person, not a policy. When you're looking for a trusted friend in the industry for home, auto, life, or business insurance, turn to Trusted Choice. Visit trustedchoice.com today.
Membership helps Strictly Bicycles keep business tuned.
Building a bike is like building a small business. With a bike, it's about weight, and a business, it's cutting costs.
The Plum Card from American Express Open offers an early pay discount or extra time to pay your bill with no interest.
It helps with my cash flow. It lets me reinvest so I can put my money to work.
Find out more at open.com.
I'm Nelson Gutierrez, and I'm a member of Making My Money Work as Hard as I Do.
This is what membership is. This is what membership does.
Terms and conditions apply.
The robots in the SnakeBot lab at Carnegie Mellon University are not built to walk or talk. They are designed to slither. For 20 years, Carnegie Mellon robotics professor Howie Choset has been designing robots to mimic snakes so they can go places that other machines can't.
These robots can use their joints, their degrees of freedom, to thread through tightly packed volumes and get to locations that people and conventional machinery otherwise can't access.
Choset says his SnakeBots will soon be an essential tool in both medical and search and rescue operations. The larger ones are fitted with cameras so that they can be controlled using a tether and sent into a collapsed building to search for survivors.
Rubble is a very fragile makeshift structure. You don't want to disturb it that much. The snake robot, by virtue of it being minimally invasive, it won't disturb the rubble, helping ensure the safety of a victim who may be trapped inside of it.
At the other end of the SnakeBot spectrum are the tiny surgical snakes, which could potentially perform heart surgery without having to open the chest.
You can enter through a small incision, make it one turn one way, another turn another way, and then before you know it, you're behind the heart where you can deliver a whole host of therapies.
In fact, he says work is already underway on a commercial version of the surgical snake. And then all he has to do is get the patients to forget every snake movie they've ever seen.
Is snakes out there this big?
It's what's left of the Jensen family.
I know this is going to sound crazy, but I think we have a giant snake.
So you think a snake's done all this?
Just relax and count backwards from 100. The Osgood File, Dave Ross, on the CBS Radio Network.
Life is like a game of golf with many turns and twists. So don't miss fun and excitement at the Mid-Valley's premier golf course, Mallard Creek Golf and RV Resort in Lebanon. Easy to find. Restaurant open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner with a beautiful outdoor patio. E-Club membership is free with weekly golf specials and a free round on your birthday. Mallard Creek on Facebook or call General Manager Mark Tunstill, 541-259-GOLF. 259-GOLF, Mallard Creek Golf and RV Resort. Because life is like a game of golf. So tee up.
You see and hear ad after ad about owning gold, but they raise more questions than they answer. That's why American Bullion has created a comprehensive free gold guide packed with unbiased information about gold as an investment. Get the facts before you buy. Call American Bullion now for your free copy of the gold guide at 800-481-8455. That's 800-481-8455. Are you tired of stressing out about the economy and ready to take control of your retirement funds? American Bullion has a precise, tax-free, and hassle-free system to convert your existing IRA or former 401k into a gold IRA. That's why they're the leader in gold IRA rollovers. It's all spelled out in the free American Bullion Gold Guide that answers all of your questions in plain and simple English. Call for your free copy today at 800-481-8455. That's 800-481-8455. American Bullion. 800-481-8455.
The Car Show, Saturday afternoons on News Talk 1580, KGAL.
Hey, glad you're with us on Valley Talk today. We are live once again in our Albany studios. Beautiful day. Enjoyed the sunshine again. We mentioned early on in the show, if you're a dad and nobody told you Happy Father's Day, Happy Father's Day, Dad. You know, it's one of those jobs where sometimes you just do it day after day after day. You go to work every day and you put food on the table, and sometimes dads just don't get the credit they deserve. So we want to take some time and say, Dad, thanks for everything you do. And thank you for listening to Valley Talk today. In the studio, we have Michael Widner and Jane Donovan talking about Willamette Theater Festival and, more importantly, Midsummer Arts in the Park. Michael, are you a dad? Let me turn your microphone on there. Hang on just a second. And you would be this one. Sorry. Are you a dad?
Yes, I am. 2 beautiful daughters, Miranda and Daphne. Miranda might be listening right now. I hope so. But yeah, 2 great daughters. Had a great day yesterday. It was a lot of fun.
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Midsummer Arts in the Park. This is the first annual event. You hope that it's the first of many. First of all, why do something like Midsummer Arts in the Park? What's the goal here?
Well, I moved, so I'm a native Oregonian, but I've been away for a long time. Moved back to Albany a couple years ago, set foot in Monteith Park, saw that stage, and immediately envisioned having some kind of big theater festival there.
Perfect.
So,
it reminds me kind of like Ashland.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful venue.
Yeah. And and in the interim, just experiencing and working with different theaters, I just saw that there's actually a ton of talent here. Albany Civic Theater and lots of stuff in Corvallis. The college, LBCC, has a great theater program. So we have all the resources. It's just a matter of putting it all on stage, on display for everyone to see. And mostly just have a lot of fun. But I think people will come away from it seeing that there's a lot of arts culture, in the area. And that's something to be really proud of and, add to your kind of identity, and think of Albany as like an arts town. And it's a town where things happen, fun things happen. So yeah, I think if we put that on display, people will come away from it not just, man, that was a blast. It was awesome sitting on a blanket and watching some funny stuff. But just, kind of that idea in the back of their mind that, we can do this here.
What kind of arts in the park are we talking about? Are we talking about Shakespearean plays? Are we talking about concerts? Are we talking about metal sculptures? What are we talking about?
Well, this is a performing arts festival. So that usually means theater, dance, choir. So distinct from the visual arts, which would be, like painting or sculpture, things like that. So a big part of it is Shakespeare. We will be doing a production of Much Ado About Nothing, one of his more popular comedies. It's an abridged, sort of adapted version of it. It's about 75 minutes, a little bit condensed, just all the fast and funny best parts. We've tried to make it super accessible for modern audiences, so some of the more obscure puns and allusions to weird stuff that, doesn't make sense now, 400 years later, has been cut out, but it's still the the play. It's still the story that everybody loves.
Now you're going to be directing this.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm directing that. I'm responsible for the script. So yeah, if you come away from it and you're like, I don't like that. That's not traditional Shakespeare way. You can come see me. But yeah, we think it's a lot of fun. The cast have an amazing cast. I put together an amazing cast, and they're doing a great job. And yeah, so I'm directing it. I actually have a small role in it as well. So yeah, so a lot of work to be done with that. So Much Ado About Nothing is a big part of Midsummer Arts in the Park, but we also have. Oh yeah, there's to mention there's 2 performances of it during the day. So if people don't, it's not just a one-time thing.
So it's July 20th. When are the 2 performances? How long are the performances?
It should be, we're kind of right now just in the process of kind of nailing down during the day when things will happen. And we have a schedule that's on our website, willamettetheaterfestival.com, that lists roughly when things will happen, because we have a lot of different groups, a lot of different performances throughout the day. But roughly 12:30ish and 4 o'clock will be the performances of Much Ado About Nothing.
Now I have here a schedule that says July 20th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So that is that includes both performances.
Yes.
10 to 6.
Yeah.
So if you just want to hang out at the park all day with friends, maybe bring a picnic lunch, enjoy some of the Shakespeare, and walk around the park a little bit, catch the end of the play in the second act, you can do that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a real easy kind of drop-in thing. It is. We'll repeat things after an intermission halfway through the day. So there's kind of a 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then if you want to, you can come to that, or you can come to the afternoon, and you'll see a lot of the same things.
Free Festival of Performing Arts featuring the work of the Albany Civic Theater, LBCC Performing Arts, Legacy Ballet, Infinite Improv, South Albany High School, and the Willamette Valley Puppeteers, and much more. Some very interesting performers there. What is Infinite Improv?
That is an amazing group. They are based in pretty much out of the Majestic Theater in Corvallis. And they do performances on the first Thursday of every month at Cloud and Kelly's in Corvallis in the evening. Eric Napalm is the mastermind behind it, and he's been doing improv for a number of years. They have workshops, like a class, every Tuesday night at 7:30 at the Majestic. And it, so it's improv. If everyone, listening has seen Whose Line Is It Anyway, that show that has been on and off the air, I think, for a number of years. It's a mix of short-form improvisational games, which you would see on Whose Line Is It Anyway, and also longer-form things where you actually are trying to create like a 30-minute play on the spot. No one knows anything beforehand. You get a suggestion from the audience. They'll say, you ask, can I get a location? Somebody says, laundromat. And then boom, you're right there. And you have to start creating, something that's funny or dramatic or something like that.
I could have used them this morning on the show.
Exactly, yes.
That would have been fun. Okay, Infinite Improv, you got 30 minutes to fill. Refrigerator, go for it.
Yes, and they will create something that will blow you away. Yeah,
radio drama for the mind.
Yeah.
More, and more. Who other performances are expected on July 20th for the Midsummer Arts in the Park?
Well, we have some smaller things. So the groups that you've listed are all providing about a 15 to 20 minute performance. So like Legacy Ballet is doing a dance routine, actually 4 different levels of dancers that are in their studio. And then in between, we'll have different things, short scenes or monologues to kind of bridge the gap between these larger performances. And maybe up until the last minute, we might be adding some different groups, groups that need to coordinate with their performers to see if they can make it, different dance studios and groups like LBCC Performing Arts is going to be their theater department, but also just recently confirmed with the choir there. James Redden's choir, the Blue Light group, are going to be performing 3 songs. So we had to get the posters out. We wanted to make sure we were wallpapering the town with our posters, and then filling groups as we need. But yeah, it's taking shape as we speak. It's going to be very interesting.
Also in the studios with us today, Jane Donovan. Jane is part of the Willamette Theater Festival. Welcome to Valley Talk.
Thank you.
And you're also with the Lynn County Cultural Coalition, and the coalition has invested money into the Midsummer Arts in the Park and the Willamette Theater Festival. Why do you do that?
Well, the Lynn County Cultural Coalition gets money from the Oregon Cultural Coalition, as every county in the state does, and we thought this was a wonderful project. We like to fund new projects that have a chance at success, and their plan was very good, so we wanted to see this happen and wanted to help out in any way we could. It's a big, as you can tell, a big project with lots of parts, and so I am the theater person on the board of the Cultural Coalition, and they said to me, help them in any way you can. Help them find their way around Albany if you're needed. And they were kind enough to include me. And I, in a former life, am retired from Lynn Benton Community College, so I taught theater and communication courses there for 26 years. This is my 8th year of retirement, but I always go to the plays. These are a marvelous group of artists, and I want to support them in any way I can.
What is it about the culture and the arts that's important to us as people? Why invest the money on culture, arts, something like this, when there's so many other needs out there? There might be some critics out there that say, why do we spend money on culture and the arts? What would you tell them?
Well, I think we spend money on culture and the arts because it makes us more human, that it enhances what we as human beings do. We tell stories, we act out stories. We've been doing it since the caveman days, and we learn from each other, from the stories we tell. And Michael has a lot about the economic impact of telling those stories on a community. So, Michael, let's
talk about the economic impact.
Yeah. So I think, you can't really measure the contribution to like civic pride or community solidarity to have this in your community and think of yourself as a place where arts and culture happens. That kind of, it's like a feather in the cap sort of thing.
But it is also one of the things when large corporations or even small corporations look to coming into a community and they do their due diligence in the community and they find out things like this are going on. It helps them retain a workforce. It's a nice place to live. So quality of life is a tangible asset that a lot of companies and corporations look at and come into a community.
Definitely, yeah. So if you're going to, say, build a factory, especially something high tech where you have maybe, higher end white collar workers, that's the sort of thing that they're going to be looking for to live there. But there's more immediate economic benefits to, let's say, one show. Like there's a show at Albany Civic Theater or at LBCC, and there's been lots of research that has tried to measure, what the per capita or per person, dollar figure that's been generated there, because there's babysitting, there's the dinner that you eat beforehand, there's in larger cities, there's parking, or something like that.
Lodging.
Exactly, yeah. If you come from out of town, you stay at a hotel. So there's a kind of a national average that for theater, the average per person is $24.51, something like that. It's roughly $24 could be spent on all these different things, babysitting, dinner, and things like that.
Per person.
Yeah, and that's not including the ticket price either. So it's a number that we can use to say, like, why do theater? Oh, it's just people dancing around in silly costumes, and that's only for people who like that kind of stuff. Well, it actually drives hundreds, even thousands of dollars into, let's say Albany's downtown. This festival, we're trying to figure out ways to measure, if we bring a few hundred people downtown for this free festival, and they go out and hopefully stay downtown and have lunch, at First Burger or something like that. We'd like to know that, just to kind of get a sense for, a real tangible, like hard data sort of number, to say that, the arts isn't just about fun or feeling good or something, only for artsy people to care about. It's actually something that businesses should care about, the city should care about, because this is, this supports jobs downtown, if these businesses are supported. So it's something that if you have a vibrant downtown with a vibrant art scene, you'll see lots of jobs, lots of businesses open, and businesses that can stay open.
So if you see 1,000 people show up and they're each paying, let's say, $50 a piece, that's a chunk of change to bring into the community.
Yes, yeah, we definitely aspire to something like that. I was just the other day talking to Rod Portia at the Visitors Association, and they're more interested. They want people to come from further away to visit Albany, and if we had a 2-day festival, then we could actually kind of measure how many hotel rooms were checked out for that night.
We have a question here from a listener. Any music that's going to be involved in this? There's the Legacy Ballet. Any concerts, any music that's part of Midsummer Arts in the Park?
No, not musicians. Not for this first year, anyways. But we will have those choirs from LBCC. The Blue Light a cappella group, it's a men's group, will be performing 3 songs. And yeah, if anyone's heard anything of the LBCC choir, James Redden's choirs, that they are some very high quality performers. They go like all around the world to perform. I'm very excited about that.
What kind of music do they perform? Is it what?
So I think this group is just a cappella, which means it's just the men's voices. They will have someone who's like a vocal percussionist or a beatboxer, so making the sounds of, drums and other things like that. But we're not planning this first year to have anything where we're like hooking up, instruments or amplifying enough sound for instruments. This year we're just going to try to focus on, the voices, and then next year tackle the bigger hurdle of the technical stuff.
Is there going to be a main center stage? You're going to have other stages going on with multiple things going on, or just the one center stage at Monteith?
We're using the one center stage and hope to have kind of a non-stop flow of entertainment there. But we will have, so Monteith River Park has a kind of covered, sort of gazebo area almost. And we're using that for our info booths, and all the groups will have information on display, so you can find out information about Albany Civic Theater's season, and how to buy tickets there. So that will be kind of a small, kind of informative area, and we hope to have a couple workshops and different groups there offering a little bit more, depth and kind of edification, let's say, to the experience. So you can see something on stage, enjoy it, and then find out more and maybe, find out ways to be involved and things like that.
We're talking to Michael Widner and Jane Donovan with Willamette Theater Festival, planned for Midsummer Arts in the Park, July 20th. It'll be 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Monteith River Park in beautiful downtown Albany. It's the first annual event. First of many is the plan. We'll talk more about that here on Valley Talk when we continue in just a moment.
Red, white, and blue. This fair's for you. The Lynn County Fair is coming July 18th through the 21st. And this year, catch outstanding entertainment like Kansas, Collective Soul, and Steve Holy. Thursday is Senior Day. Seniors get in free until 3. Sunday is Support Our Troops Day with free admission for all active military. And remember, this year, kids 12 and under are free every day when accompanied by an adult. The Lynn County Fair, July 18th through the 21st. Red, white, and blue. This fair's for you. Good news. Norpac Foods, the Northwest's leading food processor, is now taking applications for their summer employment. Jobs are seasonal general plant labor. If you're 16 years old or older, the Staten plant is now taking applications for their summer employment. And the Brooks plant and Salem Plant 7 will be taking applications on June 24th. Don't miss this great job opportunity at Norpac Foods. Norpac Foods is an equal opportunity employer.
Well, I like to see what the farmers brought from the fields around to the market lot. Seems every week it's a different crop down at Farmers Market. Down at the Farmers Market, the best berries and cherries you've ever seen. Sweet corn, tomatoes, peaches and beans, and cider and pumpkins for Halloween. Down at the Farmers Market. Down at the Farmers Market.
The Corvallis Albany Farmers Markets are now open Saturday in the City Hall parking lot at 4th and Ellsworth in downtown Albany, and every Wednesday and Saturday on the north end of the riverfront in downtown Corvallis. Enjoy live music and a large variety of locally grown farm products. For more information, log on to locallygrown.org.
At the Farmers Market, friends and neighbors gather round. At the Farmers Market, see what can be found. There's fruit from the orchards and produce from the ground. And you can meet the folks who grew it when the farmers come to town.
See you there.
Celebrate Japan at the 16th Annual World Beat Festival on June 29th and 30th at Riverfront Park in Salem. World Beat 2013 will feature a non-stop program of international music and dance with special guests from Japan. Experience everything from Japanese cooking lessons to Rakugo Japanese comedy to a kimono fashion show. Headline band Gary Small and the Coyote Brothers will perform Saturday evening leading into the grand finale with Portland Taiko, Earth and Essence Fire Dancers from Eugene. Recently named Best Performing Arts Festival, this year's World Beat features non-stop fun for all ages. Feast on the ethnic food and shop for clothing and gifts from distant lands. Join the celebration Saturday from the Small World Parade kickoff to the lion dances of Tako Fuji Dance Company. On Sunday, cheer on the World Beat Dragon Boat Races. Feel the heartbeat of the world at Salem's Riverfront Park on June 29th and 30th. For more information, visit worldbeatfestival.org. World Beat is sponsored by Bud and Selma Pierce, Salem Health, the City of Salem, Batteries Plus Bulbs, and KGAL K-Show Radio.
Into the woods and onto the waters. Listen to Northwestern Outdoors, Saturday nights on Smart Talk 1580.
Back again on Valley Talk. We're talking today about Midsummer Arts in the Park. Very excited about it. First annual event. Free Festival of Performing Arts going to be July 20th at Monteith River Park, beautiful downtown Albany, featuring the work of the Albany Civic Theater, Len Benton Community College Performing Arts, Legacy Ballet, Infinite Improv, South Albany High School, and Willamette Valley Puppeteers. And as we were just coming back from break, Jane Donovan, who's with the group and also with the Lynn County Cultural Coalition, is saying, when we talk about performing arts and Shakespeare, she says Shakespeare is for everybody, even the kids.
I think that's really true. Shakespeare's stories have been adapted into children's books, and there's several at the library. So the kids can get the synopsis of the story. They're from old stories, pre-Shakespeare. He, like all good authors, all good writers, took what was already written and made it his own. So, and this is really true. Michael's been talking to me about what he's doing with the play, and it's very physical. It's going to be fun for everybody.
One of the things we also want to, as we look at the calendar of events coming up, there's a Sunday event happening this Sunday at Sybaris at 1 p.m., June 23rd. There is a cost for lunch at the Sybaris event. Could you tell us about that event, Michael?
Yeah, so Matt Bennett of Sybaris has been an amazing supporter of our theater stuff so far. And this event on Sunday is a lunch. It's actually a benefit. I mean, the proceeds, it's raising funds for FISH, an organization, nonprofit organization that helps needy families in Albany. But we're using it to also kind of kick off and announce all of the projects, the performing arts projects that we have. So the lunch, I'm very excited about because it's all Shakespearean themed foods and things that were either mentioned in a Shakespeare play or are definitely from that time period. So lots of kind of old spices and old fruits and things that were more popular about 400 years ago. The meal is $35. It's I think like a 5-course meal, and we will have some entertainment throughout, like in between, that kind of previews not just Midsummer Arts in the Park, but we also will preview 2 shows that we're doing in August at LBCC, so we'll get to see. We'll just have a lot of fun. I mean, I'm excited about it too.
Now, the July 20th event, by the way, we should stress that that's free of charge. So you just bring your picnic lunch, your blanket, and go to the Monteith River Park downtown Albany. And July 20th event is free.
Yes.
And that's nice. Repertory shows coming up in August. That's part of this overall Willamette Theater Festival?
Yeah, so that's the next main project and the next big endeavor that we have. So we're doing 2 shows in repertory, and repertory means you run them simultaneously. You have the same stage, and you just alternate. So on any given night, it will be a different show. The 2 shows we have, also very Shakespeare-themed. The Tempest, directed by Dan Stone. He's also part of Willamette Theater Festival. And that he showed me some of his designs for that. The stage is going to have lots of different moving, mechanized parts, very, very interesting things going on there. And the other repertory show we have is The Complete Works of William Shakespeare Abridged, which is a comedy that takes 3 actors and tries to cover all 37 of Shakespeare's plays in under 90 minutes. And it's, as you might imagine, very fast-paced.
Oh, yeah.
Very silly. Lots of wigs, lots of just ridiculous things that happen with that. So
lots of motion, lots of action, lots of changes in the set. And
yes, yeah. So some plays get covered a little bit more than others, but that's just going to be a ton of fun.
Midsummer Arts in the Park, again, coming up July 20th, free of charge, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monteith River Park, again, featuring, it's a free festival of performing arts. Albany Civic Theater, LBCC Performing Arts, Legacy Ballet, Infinite Improv, South Albany High School, Willamette Valley Puppeteers. If people want to find out information, where do they go to find that out?
The website, WillametteTheaterFestival.com. So that's all kind of one word, WillametteTheaterFestival.com. We are on Facebook, so search for us there, and you will find lots of information there. And, of course, emailing, I'm happy to respond to anyone's email, and it's very easy, WillametteTheaterFestival@gmail.com.
Have about 30 seconds left to go on the show. This is the first annual event. You excited about this and more to come?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we already have some plans for next year, too, to make it bigger and better.
In what way? You want to tease us a little bit?
Well, we're going to try to expand and get more visual arts and make this more of a all downtown thing and spread out into 1st and 2nd Street downtown.
All righty. Jane, did you have something you want to say?
Well, and I was going to say, years ago, we used to do a spring fling, a spring arts festival, and we're hoping that we're going to come back even bigger and better than ever.
Bigger and better than ever before. Jane Donovan and Michael Widner here on Valley Talk today, talking about Midsummer Arts in the Park, again, July 20th, 10 to 6 at Monteith River Park. We'd like to see you there. This is Valley Talk. I'm Dave Adams. Make it a great day, okay? See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Locally owned and operated, this is the very independent News Talk 1580 KGAL, Lebanon, Albany, Corvallis.